as often as I thought. Wanted to make a community post about this, but I didn't know that you could schedule them in advance for going live together. So this is only the second time I've done it like this. Where now I'm trying to bring it up on my there we go, on my YouTube so that I can see what people are saying. It up on my, oh god, there we go.
I'm gonna try to bring the comments up too somehow on my laptop.
Let me share it to my Discord. This is like the longest it's ever taken for people to come in. This is crazy. It's like, y'all know when I go live. There. Okay, we got some people now. How's everybody doing?
Hello,
I can't pronounce your name, but hi, person who just said hi. I don't know how many of you guys know who Sassy, I'm sure a lot of you do, but Sassy was a long-term viewer of mine who made their own YouTube channel, and she has borderline personality disorder and bipolar. Am I missing anything?
That's enough already. Way too many diagnoses.
Oh, it's funny. Also, hi to Ricky,
Hey, guys.
Andrew Bide, and Stanos. God, we have the whole gang here today. Because you'd usually be in the chat. Now you're actually part of it. Look how far you
came. Yes. I'm happy to be here. I remember reaching out to you back in August. I think August for the first time. And at that time I was maybe experiencing hypomania. And I when my bipolar symptoms, I feel so confident and like I can do anything. And then when I went into a depression, I remember talking to you and I ended up recanceling on you and I felt so terrible. I was like, I hope he doesn't take this personal. Like it has all to do with my own symptoms. And
like, it reminds me of when I went live with Cluster B Milkshake because I was like a wreck. I was so nervous because that was my first time going live, period. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going live with Cluster B Milkshake. I knew about her before I started my channel. This is a lot.
That was so cool to watch you guys together.
It was, I mean, it went really well. And she had like a lot of people there. She had like 100 people at once. I was like, fuck. Also, hello, Karen. By the way, I sent you a message on Discord. I'm finally doing the book thing. I'm writing a book, by the way. That's my special.
That's so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I got one chapter done so far. So
very good.
I impulsively decided to do it today, so it's not that bad, I would say. Where is...
Can you tell us, like, what direction you're going in with your book?
It's mainly going to be I'm writing... It's going to be, like, my life story, but in the romanticization of, like, a novel. Because I don't want it to be boring and just an autobiography, so it's going to be a little dramatized. Oh, everything in it's going to be true, but it's just going to be written in a way that's very, I like to think more interesting. And I'm thinking, I haven't decided yet, but I want every other chapter like an NPD education thing where it like explains some of the behaviors and stuff. Yeah. But I'm back and forth on that idea. Also, hi Mark.
That is so cool.
I'm excited for it. You should write a book too. If you're interested. Marge is drunk and won't understand a word we're saying. Oh, this is great. Literally, like, I swear to God, whenever I want questions, nobody has any. And when I don't want questions, it's like bam, 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 bam. Well, I can ask you questions. I'm trying to think of a good one. Oh, what age were you diagnosed?
With BPD, I was diagnosed, I believe, at 22.
22. Okay. A better age than most people, that's for sure.
Yeah, some people get the diagnosis later in life. So, I knew there was something going on. I thought more than PTSD. I looked into BPD NPD and DID. But I didn't want to stick to BPD at all. Or I
Yeah.
didn't want to stick to any diagnosis. I didn't tell anyone in my life at all. I didn't tell any medical professionals.
It takes a
I,
long time. Yeah.
I just kept it quiet.
Because like I mean, hell, when it took me like several years before, not several years, like probably about 2 years, I want to say, to come out with my diagnosis. It was actually really shortly before I made my channel that I told somebody, and it was a mess. Also, Adrian, I'm not sure exactly how your name is pronounced, but she has a question. Feel free to ask it. But yeah, sorry, like this is what I hate, is that like I have to go between the chat and then actually talking to you.
No, that's cool. Take your time and feel free. I am trying to get it on my laptop so I can see the questions. Are you
Mm.
reading the questions from something else? Another.
From I mean, they come up on the screen for me, but also if you have the live stream up, you can just read the chat. Um, this is interesting. Mar asked, "Do you recognize yourself in Do you recognize yourself in my videos sometimes?" And I have a follow up question to that, which is, if you do, does that make you like self conscious that you relate to a narcissist?
Um, it doesn't make me self-conscious. There's a lot of things that I relate with when you are talking about things like you not believing people when they say they love you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when people give me compliments about myself, if I'm not doing something purposely that they recognize, then I don't believe it, if that makes sense. If let's say someone called me courageous, I
Yeah.
wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, yeah. Unless they're making like a comment on like a specific thing that you did, maybe.
Yeah, that I
Yeah,
yeah, yep.
that makes a lot of sense actually. Because for me, it's always like if I hear it from somebody else, like somebody saying good things about me from somebody else, or well, and comparisons. Those are the two that actually make sense to me, and stuff like that. Which is really weird. Now I'm thinking about it more. That's really weird. Why are we like this?
And also, I think when a partner tells me that they love me, then I won't believe it. But if it's
Yeah,
like if it's someone else, I will. Like a friend.
that's a
I
little
don't know.
backwards.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's that like because like the importance of romantic relationships in borderline, that does kind of make sense because it's like oh, that's actually something I want to ask eventually. I want to check if anybody else has questions. What what do a borderline and a narcissist feel when it happens? I'm super curious. When we're diagnosed, feel free to specify that because I'm not sure. Um, but oh shit, what were you just talking? Oh, relationship. Oh, do you get a? I love asking borderlines this. How would you describe like a favorite person if you get those?
Um the first thing I thought was cocaine addiction. But I would compare a favorite person relationship to an addiction. Um,
Interesting.
and hearing some people with BPD, they think that it's a relationship that they can't end or leave. And I just feel like there's so much freedom when you can separate yourself from another individual, when you're getting your identity from another individual. And that can make or break you if you don't hear from them.
Yeah.
Um, it's a hard way to live.
It's like you feel like you're like a part of them almost.
Yeah. One. We're one. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Because for me, it's always like I feel like I feel in relationships, I almost feel like well, honestly, I feel like they become part of me and it really annoys me. But it's like I desperately want them to be my equal, but because I'm so domineering and put myself in the center of most people's lives, what ends up happening is that they're like just orbiting around me. And I
Yeah.
just feel like I have another like sink of it. It's like I need someone that like stands up to me for that reason, which I find interesting. The Let's see. Somebody said something that I thought was interesting. Yeah. Okay. Santa still hasn't explained what the it thing when it happens. I don't know what that means. Also, hi Sandra.
So if a partner was enmeshing with you, do you think you would start pulling away?
I'm just distant in general. I would say because I don't really get enmeshed. It feels like people just become part of me almost. Um, I've never even I don't know because it actively confuses me when people say like I feel like I lose myself in my partner. Like that took a lot of the only way I was able to kind of wrap my mind around it is comparing is that like you get it's like to me it's like oh how I kind of conceptualize it is you can only get self-esteem juice from your partner basically. That's kind of the only way I'm able to make sense of it. It's like your self-worth and self-esteem is completely based off of that person,
Yeah.
which is strange for me, honestly. I won't understand it. But also a heal that says, thanks for the discussion. Great topic. Thank you. I agree. Um oh what Santos man, how do you feel when you're abandoned? I feel like that's a better question for you first than for me.
Um, Let me think of a time. Like the world is ending.
Eh,
Um, like being lost in the mall, separated from my parent. As a young child. And then you go into this panic. That's with abandonment, rejection, real or imagined. So
yeah.
creating it. A partner or a favorite person not texting back
Yeah.
can set me off.
I feel that one. It's like I always kind of assume they're mad at me if like it's like, oh, usually they reply within this period of time, and now they're taking double that time, and I'm like, what the fuck? What do they think I did? Like, what did I do?
At one point in my time life, I was if people took too long to respond when I'm just meeting them, I just completely cut them off. And then I learned, I have to stop doing that.
That's so because for it was kind of similar for me. What I would always do is I'm like, okay, I can't look too clingy, so I would like almost to the minute copy how long that they took to reply.
Yep, to keep a balance. See, that's I also have to. It's I want them to be there, but I also have to put space in intentionally so that they aren't pushed away.
So like it's that enmeshment versus abandonment thing. You have to keep
Yeah.
that like you can't
Yeah.
go to either of those extremes. See, we need to talk about enmeshment more at some point. Um, they because like I just don't get it. I really don't. I wish I could say I did. It's just losing yourself in somebody is such a strange concept for me.
I
Um,
think for some people with BPD, if it's our favorite person, then it's okay. We want this. But if you're not our favorite person and you try to enmesh with us,
mhm.
it won't go well for
Okay.
you.
I thought it was most prevalent in like avoiding enmeshment with romantic partners
Hmm. Um,
because I mean I could be completely wrong. I have no idea.
I had one conversation with a woman with BPD who her partner actually had an avoidant attachment style, so they never actually enmeshed, but she wanted it, or
So
at least that's what she
she
thought.
was chasing after it the entire time because
Yeah.
it's like that distance. That's
Yep.
interesting. That
Yep.
makes a
So
lot of
that's
sense.
so I thought maybe yeah.
This person says, I've seen studies on how BPD can form without trauma. What do you think about developing an NPD without trauma? See, this is interesting. Do you think that personality disorders can develop without trauma? Because for me, I don't think they can. I think trauma can be very subtle and not look like trauma to other people. But
Yeah.
also, I think they might be downplaying their own trauma as well because it's like, oh, this person went through worse. That means I'm not traumatized and like stuff like that.
Exactly. That's what a lot of people talk about in I feel like the communities on Reddit, they'll explain, my trauma, I really was I had a good childhood, and then they'll say, my father and mom were never home,
Yeah.
and then they'll be describing neglect. So,
Yeah.
um,
It's like it feels like when you're severely abused, it's the line feels like it's always, oh well, I was fed and I had a roof over my head, therefore it wasn't abused.
yep,
And it's like, listen, buddy. And how do you tell somebody that, right? How do you tell them, no, you actually went through severe trauma and stuff like that? Because they're going to shut that down and be like, well, I heard stories of this person going through this, this, and this. I mean, hell, and when I had my video, I, I, I unlisted it because I got so embarrassed of it. I might put it back up. The my childhood one is that people would be like, "Oh my god, you went through so much worse than me," blah 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 blah, and I'm like, maybe, but that doesn't invalidate what you went through.
yep,
Like I always say, the worst thing that you ever went through is still the worst thing you ever went through, even if somebody else went through something worse. In quotes.
yep. I think it's important not to compare our traumas because we don't know how I don't know how you felt in that moment when you experienced A, B, C, and D. Maybe that's something I wouldn't be able to deal with. Maybe
Yeah,
something I went through. I don't think comparing trauma is
it's not
helpful.
constructive. Yeah.
It's
And that's
all
actually a really good point. It's
both.
because like I might react way worse to the type of trauma that you went through, or I might be just not affected by it either way.
Yeah. Yep.
Everyone's going to be specific in their reactions. That's a really good point. It's and that's another thing too. This person says, and if you're always neglected, you don't have anything to compare it to. It's simply normal. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it too. Is that like
Yeah.
when you go through trauma, it's like, oh well, that's just how things were. That's just
Hmm.
norm. Why? Like you wouldn't even consider it trauma at that point, unless like a specific thing happened that was like super outside the norm. Mm.
Sarah's here. Hello.
I was hoping she'd show up. I think she would. I was like, oh, she's gonna be happy to see this. Sarah, I compared this to when I'm probably around the same amount of subscribers too. To when you had me on your channel for the first time way back when. It was terrifying. No, as soon as I was there, I was super comfortable. Mm. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So
Coach B Milkshake usually has some really good questions, so I am expecting that. Anyways, go on.
I seen a question that said, "Do I observe um, people's personalities?" Um, I will, if I am listening to the way you talk, I will start to sound like you. And this makes me cringe when I hear myself back. When I watch my own videos, I hear at least three different people um, in the way I sound. When I had the favorite person relationship, everything she did, I did. Everything about her, I loved. There was nothing about her that I didn't like.
And you genuinely believe that, like, that's just who you are in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't realize there was an issue until maybe 19 or 20. Um, she seemed that like she wanted space from me, and it seemed like I was too clingy, um, and I was feeling jealous when she would hang out with this new friend she got, and I was like, "This is a problem."
Yeah, that's fucking fascinating. Because like what I really find interesting about all that is that like there's no conscious. It's not like you're like, oh, I want to please this person. I'm going to adopt all your traits. It's like, oh, I just become who this person is.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Um, so Ricky asked a good question. Do you have any tips to not get enmeshed and keep a healthy distance? Do you notice it's happening or only realize later?
Um, so I would say when I'm not medicated for my bipolar, My bipolar symptoms, I feel less aware, and I feel like I can, the world is happening so fast. But when I'm medicated, I naturally, after experiencing more trauma in my adulthood, I keep a distance from everyone. If a person tries to get too close, I actually will get angry. I will get pissed off. And I will create space. So I'm not going to get enmeshed with anyone.
See, because
Um,
people compare the like intimacy avoidance in NPD and BPD a lot. It's like, oh my god, it's like the same thing. And I think that people need to realize that the reasons are completely different, even if the behavior looks the same. Because I'm avoiding vulnerability. I'm like, oh, if they say who I am, then I'm worthless. And then, with borderlines, it's like losing yourself and suffering, which
yeah,
is
that's
horrifying.
important. That's a big difference.
Mhm.
Because I don't mind being vulnerable. It's
Yeah.
just I can't become you. Um,
Yeah. It's like, please, no.
yes, please no. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Also, Tally says, hi, I'm an ARC 2. Want to know if you're like me and tend to attract people with BPD. Well, I mean, I got BPD on here right now, so I guess so. No. I don't know. I've only ever met one person I've even suspected to be BPD in terms of romantically. Um, it's just that, like, cluster Bs are pretty rare. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be meeting a bunch of them. I've met one diagnosed borderline in my life, like in real life,
Hmm.
and one person who suspects that they're a narcissist, and one that suspects they might be ASPD, and that's it. Three people, three cluster Bs in my life, other than my family. Like people
What
will be like, "Oh, I dated so many narcissists," and I'm like, "Really? Where are you finding them? I want to make friends with them."
did you say you went to outpatient treatment?
I went to outpatient and inpatient.
Did you do any like group therapy? And did you notice like um any cluster Bs maybe?
Yes, actually, I looked at this woman and I was like, "Oh my god, she is like my sister," like hands down. And her reactions confirmed it afterwards. She may have actually been a narcissist too, because I was, or not, maybe not too, but she may have just been a narcissist because I remember talking to her and she was like saying like, "I just think we're smarter than everybody here." I'm like, "Well, that's interesting." Um, but they just threw like a bipolar diagnosis at both of us, and I was like, whatever, I don't care. Like, and
um
that story, God, I hate remembering when that guy just threw that bipolar diagnosis at me because I got into an argument with him, and it was a whole thing.
I think it's interesting. I've also heard a story that I thought was just shocking, and I'm like, this is not normal. I was listening to this person who's been in my life talk about um, shooting someone, and their emotions are flat. There's no guilt behind it, and I was
Yeah,
just like,
were they being serious?
yeah, yeah,
Because I'll be
yeah.
like, oh, I want to fucking kill that person, but I'm never like going to do it. Probably.
This person is in prison right now. So I'm like,
That's a weird thought.
okay, it seems a little bit like ASPD is going
Yeah,
on.
that fearlessness, reckless disregard,
Yeah,
and shit like that.
yeah.
Um, also, Dr. Ruth says Jacob and Sassy, then hurt face. And Ruth, I completely forgot to reply to your email, but I am going to get to that soon. Um, and also, do I like comedic movies? Nameless. I don't really enjoy movies. They bore me unless I'm like watching them with someone or we're giving like commentary on it. It's like just sitting down watching a movie. Like I'll usually like be on my phone 90% of the time.
I don't even turn my TV on. I get
Mhm.
distracted.
Exactly. Oh,
Yep, unless I'm with someone.
yeah.
So
Um, Lucia asks, "Shalom, everyone. Jacob, please point difference between a malignant narcissist from the others." That's a question I've been asking myself, and I kind of question whether the what's it called, the construct of malignant narcissist even really exists. because there's like so little research about it. But I asked Mark Enenson about it actually, and he said that like aggression is defended against in normal narcissism, while aggression in a malignant narcissist is like part of the outwards personality structure, which I find really interesting. Um, and I mean, but I don't know how that would actually present, right? I guess just more angry. I have no idea. Let's see. Do you think personality disorders are underdiagnosed? Angie said that.
What did you say?
Do you think like cluster B is underdiagnosed?
Yeah. Um, I imagine that in poor communities, and in the Black community, it's underdiagnosed.
True,
Um,
that makes sense. Um, I mean, and also like, especially NPD, it's like misdiagnosed as bipolar like all the time. Um, but I do think like I'm not sure if this is appropriate for me to say, but I do think it's like really cool that you are like a person of color. I don't know what term is appropriate.
yeah. Yep. That. Yeah.
Because like you're representing a group that doesn't really have a lot of mental health advocacy in it and stuff like that. So I think that's like a really cool part about your channel. What do you feel personally is the difference between BPD and NPD? I would love to hear your answer on this too, because I think they're very similar. And I would say to differentiate them, I would say look at the attachment style, whether it's preoccupied or well, both of them are disorganized, but one has more of an avoidant overtone, one's more preoccupied. But I would say it's like I really think narcissists are like just borderlines with a grandiose shell, as I say. Like when like vulnerable narcissism actually has huge correlations with borderline personality disorder. So when I break down to a vulnerable state, I appear almost borderline, except for some of that grandiosity that is still bleeding through. But do you have any opinions on that?
Um, I thought about the empathy, but I know that empathy is just one symptom.
Yeah.
That affective empathy, and I wondered if I know that people with NPD can split, but I wonder if it's as often in relationships compared to people with BPD.
See, I was talking to Ruth about that actually, and I think that how I think it goes is that borderlines will split more often, but when a narcissist does, it's like way more intense, give or take. Because that's like how when I was a kid, that's definitely how it would present. Especially like my sister would just blow up all the time. I would internalize it until it came out, and I would get like violent. So I think that would be a pretty good. Like I don't. God, the fucking diagnostic criteria is so shitty.
I know that Cluster B Milkshake Sarah, she talked about you might have talked about going to funerals too, um, and not really connecting with people's sadness.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, if I get a text message that someone's loved one that I don't even know passed, I my day is like I'm depressed. I feel it. It affects me. So going to a funeral, I hate funerals. I think you guys talked about one of you guys talked about this. I hate funerals. I have went under the influence to funerals because it's emotionally overwhelming for me.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, you're like thinking about it now. I can see you're like, oh my god, like overwhelmed just by thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because one of the first things I noticed, like the first symptom I noticed, was going to a funeral as a kid and thinking everyone like not being able to connect with those emotions and feeling like everyone was either being dramatic or doing it for attention. And then also in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, wait, this might be me. And just noticing that I just was not sad at all at death. It was, and nowadays it's really annoying because I have to like pretend to be sad and shit like that. And I'm like, literally, my close friend of mine a while back, he shot himself, and I was like cognitively, I was like, well, that sucks. I won't miss him. But like, I was at the funeral, just like feeling empty, and I'm like, Oh man, I really do lack empathy, don't I?
And I think that, people who normies or people who don't have a cluster B personality disorder, they may think some of these things are malicious, that are, you're a terrible person because um, of how your brain functions, basically. Um, and it's unfortunate that people have the view, um, being called demon. Um,
All the time.
yeah.
It's so see because I've thought about this a lot. Wow, because like so many people don't take us seriously, right? Because I mean, hell, you can because of like you can look in the DSM and how it describes it. We're the erratic, emotional, and dramatic. Erratic, emotional, and dramatic cluster, right? Because people look at us and they don't take it like they don't realize it's real to us, and our
Yeah.
symptoms just kind of make us look like an asshole half the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm surprised like I haven't ended up on the news or like World Star or anything like that, cuz I have had episodes in public.
Mm,
Um People in BPD loved ones, they say that, borderlines can do this instant switching and they can turn everything off. And I was like, maybe some people, but when I'm angry, being destructive, it doesn't matter if the police show up or not. I'm the same exact way.
yeah. I
I
don't think I don't think they consciously turn it off. I think it's like the emotional permanence, right? Every now, like sometimes it'll just like it's gone,
oh
uh,
yeah,
or dissociation. I've read a theory on that is that when that like your amygdala literally turns off when you get too overwhelmed by emotion sometimes,
yeah,
which I think is fascinating.
yep. Ah, it's like the brain's like can't handle this.
Yeah, not at all. Um, Somebody said something I thought was interesting, or I had thought that was interesting, but somebody somebody said, "Can you sense when somebody is codependent and know you'll be able to manipulate them?" Oh, I remember what my question was, but I'll answer this real quick. Um, no, I'm too self-absorbed to notice most things about people, and I don't really like. People are like, "Oh, narcissists prey on codependent stuff like that." I hate people that I view as clingy and like dependent and stuff. Not hate them, but like I would never enter a relationship with one, or if I would, it'd be a very specific instance. Because as I was like I said earlier, like I want somebody that's going to stand up to me, somebody that's going to like make it feel like it's an equal and not somebody beneath or above me. And people who are codependent don't really do that for me. Do you like what do you know what traits you kind of are attracted to in partners?
Um, this is kind of sad, but control. I do want some kind of control because that means to me that you care.
Yeah,
See that. There has to be some consistency in the maybe first 2 months. Otherwise, that if there's no consistency, I'm out. But I think, people have asked me, have I dated a codependent? And my partners have been codependent. Have they been something more? The partner that came on my channel, he identifies with borderline and narcissistic traits.
okay.
So, he was codependent. What do I look for?
I find
Um,
codependent such a iffy term because it's not like that's a diagnostic thing, right? So it's like, what does it? Sometimes it's like, what does it even mean?
uh, I just thought about this, but some codependents that they like to say borderlines are the failed narcissists, and then I think, aren't you a failed borderline?
Yeah, I love that. I will bring that around. That's so funny. Aren't you a failed borderline? Yeah, like let's be real. Cluster Bs, we're better than everybody else.
And there's also, I When I first joined your community and Sarah's community, I seen some people with BPD talking shit about people with NPD, and this made me so angry. I was on Reddit going ham, and then I was like, um, I have to put my ego aside. I try to save people, or
Yeah.
like, defend people, and at times I won't even defend myself. But there's this, I think, disconnect with some people with BPD who look at people with ASPD or NPD as all bad. And I don't see myself far. I think there's a lot of similarities and
Oh, yeah.
overlap of symptoms.
Like, I used to be, because of my experiences with my sister, I used to be like very anti-borderline for a while. I'll be honest. And but my first time meeting a borderline in real life, the girl who, if you go to the beginning of my channel, there's two videos of me and her having a discussion. When I met her, it was the first time I was like, "Oh my god, I actually relate to somebody," and it was an amazing experience. Not as much as I would relate, like when I met Sarah and Tess. Like obviously that got blown out of the water, but I was like, okay, what you think and feel makes sense to me. It's not like completely out there like everybody else, which ironic to say, obviously, but my scope of reference. Um, and I don't get like this. It feels like almost a sibling rivalry, but with like because with NPDs, it's usually like they go through a relationship with a borderline, they get really upset and
Yeah,
whatever. And I'm
yeah,
sure the same with borderlines a lot of times, but borderlines try to throw us under the bus all the time, like constantly. And
yeah.
I really don't like that. Instead of trying to like work together as cluster Bs and like reduce stigma all around, they're like, let's attack NPDs and ASPDs to make ourselves look better, and like we aren't like to fix their stigma. Basically, I hate that.
That happens. That actually happens. It's I think it has to do with ego. I don't want to be the bad one, so you're the bad one.
Mm-hmm.
We're people. No, we're not like people with NPD. No, that sounds like NPD. You know.
We're nothing like the people with NPD. We have empathy, and I'm like, okay, well, like that's one thing. Okay,
But even then, there's been studies that our cognitive empathy at times presents differently in different situations.
yeah, it's my theory that people with personality disorders don't have their cognitive empathy intact. Honestly, I think it's really overestimated, and sure, I do think borderlines have very strong affective empathy, but how effective effective empathy effective how effective is that if you can't
Stand.
yeah exactly. um Also there is a before I get into the questions again because I'm getting behind on them, but whatever. So because you mentioned BPD loved ones, how often do you go on those like subreddits to like, I don't know, torture yourself?
So for like the past, I would say 2 months, I joined and I was there every day. And then I realized I had to leave because it was affecting my mental health. Um, I was there often, and at first I seen them as all bad. Like, this is a hate group. Some people say some disgusting things in there, but I feel like a lot of people here are in pain. Their relationships with a person with BPD were painful. I'm not their partner. I don't know what they went through. And so if they're pulling all of their experiences together, I can see, how they could come up with we all do the same thing. Even though I think, it's good to think for yourself. Otherwise, someone will think for you. And if someone's saying we all do this, then, you can end up believing it. But, I just try to stay away now to keep some sanity.
Yeah.
After reading like borderlines aren't good with their pets. and I have a dog, you know, so
Yeah.
I was mad about that, but
It's they'll find anything to be able to paint us as bad, more or less. Anything that their individual did, they'll be like, "Oh, this is a representation of all borderlines." And I get it; they're in a place in their healing where they can't really accept the idea that, like, they're individuals. Like, it may be that person who was bad, not the disorder itself. I mean, don't get me wrong, the disorder is bad, but like, not that disorder caused the hurt that they went through. Something really funny, actually, that I found amusing, kind of pissed me off, was every now and then I'll search my name on Reddit just to see if who's talking about me. And in narcissistic abuse communities, I saw this one that was like somebody was trying to recommend my stuff, and the mods deleted it saying, "No, you can't use cluster B's as references and shit like that. You can't share that." And I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Why?"
you know, I have an issue with Reddit mods. I have a that's messed up. Like, not even to give you a chance to look at your content to see if it's the information is, you know, worth that could be helpful, that
Yeah,
could share information.
it was something I was, and like part of me was like, are they trying to keep people in the cycle of hate? And I was like, okay, no, that's not it. They're hurt and trying to avoid that. Maybe they're afraid it's going to trigger somebody. But I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, do you want to continue your healing or not? Right. Um, I didn't. I was. I wasn't like upset about it, but I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know my emotions towards it were. I won't point out Cluster B Milkshake though. Yes, I get pissed off when I'm called a demon, but you also like being feared. I love being feared, but not like being called a demon though, just because it sounds so stupid. If somebody was like, "Oh, I understand you're a narcissist, and that makes me fear you," that I don't have any issues with. But like, I don't like the. Don't call me a demon. It's dumb. Um. Okay. Anyways, let's find another actual question. Um. Have you guys seen a big difference between men and women with BPD? Ooh, I want to hear your experiences first.
Um, I've I've heard men with BPD be described as covert narcissists. Um, I am following a man with BPD on TikTok.
Okay.
Um, I haven't really seen any differences, but I what I wondered is, um, since I feel like, you know, men are taught to not cry and not be
Mhm.
emotional. Does that affect a man with BPD where he doesn't talk about his feelings and he just explodes?
Yeah,
Um, I don't know.
I because
I don't.
I have one friend who I suspect has borderline personality disorder, and he can be a lot. I love him, but yeah, like he has a lot of also hi KFK. He has problems, obviously, and it always kind of feels like his emotions are way more often met with anger rather than or like substance abuse and stuff like that, rather than like actually expressing all of the emotions. And people calling male borderlines covert narcissists, that just feels like stigma to me, honestly. Because it's like, oh, a borderline, you can't have borderline if you're a male, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. It's like, I get it. They're hard to tell apart, but come on, guys. And clinicians. Hear that, Ruth? No, I'm joking. I'm not calling out Ruth. Oh, also, Cassandra's here. What's going on? So let's see. Having Okay, here. Borderline women. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have a question. Borderline women without awareness can behave like psychopaths, according to Vagnin. What do you guys think about that?
Well, aware women with BPD can act like, you know, the secondary psychopath. That stuff is real.
Hmm.
And I'm, I would say aware for most of the part. And yes, I've been incarcerated. I've done some things that I cannot talk about. Yeah.
I would say because the issue also for Tanis here, what's going on, dude? Um, a big issue that I have with people describing it as what's it called? Like as psychopaths is like, what does that actually mean, right? You could say sociopath or psychopath, factor one psychopathy, factor two psychopathy. But I mean, we're going to do destructive shit when we're not aware. That just happens. I mean, I'm not saying all do, but generally speaking, I would say like we're going to be hurting people all the fucking time. And that is what it is. I don't think that's something that's specific to borderline personality disorder. At the very least, I'm not sure about HPD, but NPD, BPD, and ASPD. Yes, 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 yes. We are a lot.
Do you feel like you're a different person when you're angry?
Mm, looking back on it, I definitely. I feel like it's just because I have so much anger all the time that I don't. Um, but like when I go into like a narcissistic rage, right, which I differentiate from um like just anger in general because like it feels like, and I feel like you might be able to relate to this, like everything is turned off except for your anger and your instincts, and
Yeah.
like there's no higher like functioning going on. I don't know if that makes you feel like a different person, but it I definitely act like one. That's what I'll say, a different person. Do you relate to like it's like everything turns off except for anger and how to get rid of it?
Yep. Yep. There's no stopping me. You have to physically stop me, constrain me. Um, I will keep going and going.
Yeah. Until you like burn out or go to bed.
Yeah.
I that was my see that's the thing is that like you would have to physically restrain me, but I never like nobody was ever willing to try with me. So I would just like fucking go. And then is Nicole here? Hi Nicole, if you are here. Somebody mentioned Nicole. Oh my I love how everybody knows Nicole. Everyone knows Nicole and Seth and all my like in-person friends. Oh, it's funny. You know, somebody described my channel as a what's it called? Um and like because I like commented on my video being like eventually you should leave my channel if it's for healing and stuff, and this guy was like, oh I know you're right, but like it's gonna be hard because your channel feels like a bar where everybody knows your name. I was like oh, oh that made me feel something. Because I would say that because like well that's what we'll miss as I grow is like there's like a real community here right now, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's going to like end at some point. I mean, I'm at 10K, so it's probably not going to happen for a while. But I would say like once I'm at like 50 to 100K, that's when it's going to start to dissipate and be really sad.
Mhm.
Like half the people in the chat right now, I recognize their names. I know what their disorders are and shit like that. You know,
Well, maybe you'll have a VIP that we can join.
maybe like because I have. Do you are you on my Discord by any chance?
No, no.
Because that's like the closest thing that I have to it, where it's like I purposely label people who are around like for a longer period of time as like the OG chat, so that we can still kind of have that, but it's not enough.
I love this community so much. I felt alone, and I before finding Cluster B Milkshake's channel, I didn't talk about my symptoms. I didn't talk about my diagnosis at all.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
Masking.
it's like how like because like to a sorry 1 second I have to plug in my phone so I'm moving. Um, it's like and to some degree it's like how can you when you feel like you feel so foreign like nobody can really relate to it. And then when you tell people, they can use it against you and be like, "Oh, well, I'm right because you have a personality disorder," um, et cetera, et cetera.
See, I have this ego. I wish someone would use it against me. I wish someone would have something to say in my real life. I wish you would. And I kind of have been known as like crazy. She's crazy, so I feel like when I eventually told my friends and my mom, I really didn't tell a lot of people. Nothing was like surprising.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. The only reason it was a little bit surprising on my friends is because like nobody knows what narcissism really is. But then like once they like thought about it for 2 seconds, they're like, oh, I see now. Also, I think it was my next obsession said that I should have a live with a histrionic or sociopath. I want to point out I am doing a video soon with a sociopath, with actually a comorbid BPD too,
Oh,
but
cool.
it's not going to be live though. But it's going to be cool.
Do you have anyone in the community that has HPD?
My next obsession does actually.
Okay.
I think her primary diagnosis is HPD, but I'm not. You can correct me if I'm wrong. My next obsession. Why can't I pronounce obsession today?
I want to learn more. I just feel like there's not enough information out there, like examples. I want to know like the similarities.
Yeah, honest. Like, I don't feel like there's enough representation for ASPD and BPD. I mean, there's like for ASPD, there's what's her name, Katrina Blanca, or I can't
Oh
pronounce it.
yeah, Kanika Bantra.
Kanika, yeah. She follows me on TikTok,
That's cool.
but yeah, it's like other than her, I don't feel like she gives a very good representation of ASPD. Occasionally she does, but usually it's like, oh, this is how you manipulate people, and I'm like, I get it, you know, for content reasons,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I wish it was a more positive representation because I'm looking out for all my cluster bees.
I liked her beginning content. You know, I like she is who she is. What bothered me was when she's, talking about how to break narcissists. And I wrote to her.
I have a funny story. So how she ended up following me is that she made a comment and she was joking. She says, accusing me of copying her, and I like wrote like out a long message being like, I didn't even know who the fuck you were. Please don't accuse me of that. Basically. Then she's like, I was just joking, and I was like, okay. And then she followed me, and immediately after, she made 2 videos about manipulating narcissists. And I was like, girl, come on. I'm like, come on. And like, I apologize and stuff too because I'm playing a game where I was like, hey, like, sorry about that. I got defensive because that's just how I am, et cetera, et cetera. And she was like, oh, I understand. I have NPD too, whatever. I was just, I was not having it.
See, just off hearing that, I can I can say I don't like this person, and see them as terrible. But I have to remember,
Black and white thinking.
separate myself.
It's okay. Oh, also, hi TJ Tampa. I saw that you popped in. But yeah, like that's the thing is that like just it's so hard because like there are a lot of people, and I'm not accusing Quintino of this particularly, especially compared to some other people, but like there's people that lean into the stigma for the purpose of views and stuff like that. And I understand the drive, but I'm also like, come on, please, can we just be nice?
I wonder if I do that. I don't know.
You do not. I get self conscious that I lean into the. I get self conscious that I lean into the stigma too sometimes.
I was very surprised that when I started my channel that people started asking me questions. I'm like, I'm nobody.
Do you get those questions? Or like, why would a borderline like stalk you and murder your pets and like stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those ones, I'm like, I don't know. I would never do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
I couldn't tell you why that's happening.
Oh, Mar, you're fine, by the way. She knows what I'm talking about. She said something in the mod chat I wanted to reply to. But yeah, like I'm like, I would never stalk somebody. I'd never kill a pet. I probably wouldn't do something like violent to the point of like endangering somebody's life and stuff like that, or take somebody to court. And they're like, how do you deal with like when you're in a like a criminal case with a narcissist, or like you're trying to get your kids. I'm like, I don't know.
That sounds like something I would be dealing with, honestly.
Yeah. Sarah, if you're still here, know that usually with those people, I direct them to you.
Sometimes people talk about narcissists do this, and I'm like, that's actually something maybe I've done, or I would. That sounds borderline.
Yeah, like I see it all the time. Is that like they? Cause I feel like it's because they appear very similar. Is that people will like be like, oh, they do this or this and this, and I'm like, no, that sounds borderline, or no, that sounds narcissistic, or no, that sounds OCPD or PPD. Like people associate so much, like especially the NPD and BPD, since they associate so many negative behaviors with it. If somebody shows a pathological negative behavior, they're going to assume it's one of those, which is unfortunate.
Do you ever hear like my therapist said my partner has NPD? You ever hear that?
Occasionally, yeah. Which I'm always like, well, she can't diagnose that.
That comes up a lot with, people. They say my therapist said my partner's borderline. Um,
Really,
they've never met your partner though. So
you you literally are not allowed, according to like the DSM. You literally cannot. I'm not sure if it's in DSM, but some like ethical practices. You literally cannot diagnose anybody who is not in treatment with you. And it's like, I guess you'd be like, oh, it sounds like they have borderline, but like that's the same fucking thing if it's coming from a therapist, right?
yeah,
They're going to take it just as seriously.
and so they're not considering like PMDD, pre dysphoric premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or bipolar disorder. If you go to the subreddit bipolar significant others, it sounds similar to BPD loved ones. They talk about the
Yeah.
same things their partners are doing. Um, and so I think that's pretty interesting that people should check out.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, oh, that's actually something I love to do is go on other subreddits for other like mental disorders and like figure out how they think. I highly recommend the Schizoid subreddit. It's fascinating.
Oh, I think I'm in there.
All right.
I think I'm in there. I'm in a few too.
Like,
um,
I'm in the
something like
Schizoid, Schizotypal, and OCPD. It's funny. I love it. Um, let's see. The Jacob does have a new friend in quotes he could call on for that. Oh, she's talking about Kurt. She's talking about Kurt. Can't whatever the fuck her name is, because she left a heart on one of my videos, and so it's a joke in the Discord now. Um, also, Fotina says can't handle the rage. I think I already said hi to you, but hi again, Fotina. If you and also, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Oh,
and
Jacob's right. Oh, what's up?
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for
No, you're
interrupting.
fine. What's up?
So you guys, I have my phone right here. I can't see all of the chats. I have my laptop, but it's like I'm squinty. So if you guys are talking, I'm relying on Jacob. So hello to everyone that's here. If you guys are talking to me, I apologize.
Oh, it's funny. I'm trying to find like the actual questions. Oh yeah, Nicole is like, I'm surprised you didn't say that you had I had histrionic. I make fun of her for I'm like, you're histrionic, but she related to some of the stuff I thought was hilarious. Um, let's see. Oh my god, there's so much. See, this is the issue, especially when I go live with somebody else. There's like so many questions. Oh, Isabel's here. What's going on, Isabel?
Hello, Isabel.
It's like literally it's like literally like, see, that's the thing. I'm gonna miss that when I oh, also Rocky's here. It's gone. I'm gonna miss like knowing like literally everybody, all my regulars. I mean the okay, okay.
Ruth asked how stigma impacts you personally.
Usually, it's for me. It's that like people always assume I'm manipulating them because they're like, "Oh, you're a narcissist, so therefore you're manipulating," and they don't pay attention to the fact that I've been in therapy for so long, and like also sometimes it's like, what would I have to gain? Um, and it's like it's just really annoying because people stop thinking that you care about them or that they can take you at face value anymore. Most of my friends nowadays, I don't really have to worry about that with, but it's been an issue in the past. Do you have experiences like that?
Um, the thing is, if my anyone any personal relationships, if there's stigma, if they have opinions, I'm taking that as rejection, so I'm gonna cut you off.
Yeah,
So I no one has anything said anything to me in my personal life. When I read stigma, I get upset at the fact that other cluster Bs might have to read it. That might sound weird, but if there's like false information on people with NPD, like
yeah,
people with BPD talking badly, that will make me upset. When people come to my channel, generalizing people with BPD, it makes me upset knowing someone might read it with BPD.
yeah. That makes sense conceptually, but that's never even occurred to me when I read it. I'm always like, I just take it personally. I'm like, how dare you insult me like that? How dare you think I'm like that? Yeah, like, which I find so funny. Um, uh, where I was looking at a really good question. Oh, wait. Also, no, I already said that. Never mind. I saw a really good question. Now I can't remember what it was. Mint chocolate. Ricky asked, "Do you guys struggle with promiscuity and why? How do you deal with it? Have you ever been like promiscuous? Because I have been, but it's never been like an addiction, so to speak.
Yes. This is something that I've tried avoiding talking about. There's a few things I try to avoid, but it is part of what I experience having BPD and also bipolar, being impulsive.
Sure.
Um, After experiencing trauma, for me, in adulthood, this has led to me, um, like going in. I went into like a hypersexual phase.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I'm withstanding by choice. I think at this point in my life, being safe with a safe partner, having consensual sex, all of that stuff, I don't want to take any risks at this
Yeah.
point in my life. So that
And like,
outweighs the impulse. Sorry. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. I just always get so self conscious about um sexuality taking the front seat in a relationship. Someone was like, okay, how am I supposed to like actually value this person in a relationship if I'm so focused on sex? Which sucks. I do have a high sex drive because I feel like most cluster Bs do because we're like sensation seeking. But so I actively do as well. I actively avoid like engaging in that kind of behavior. But also, I don't know. If some girl's like, "Oh, I want to sleep with you," I probably wouldn't have any moral opposition to it. You know what I mean? Oh man, see, people are making comments about the things that we said while we were talking, and now we're so far behind. I'm like, what the fuck did we say to get that? Um, Oh, can you date people or fall in love with people that you see as lower than yourself? I personally can't, but I know some narcs who do it, and I always confuse fascinated me. Yeah, I guess I can really answer that one for the most part. But like, no, I like if I'm dating. That's why I need a partner that will stand up to me nowadays. Is that I don't want people to. I want an equal in my relationship, not or somebody. Hell, I prefer somebody higher than me than just like another yes man. I want to be in a relationship with somebody that I don't feel like I can't be equal to. It's something I just started thinking about recently. It's weird.
That's interesting. I feel like I have to see my partner above me and like
Ooh,
not even equal, not lower than me. Otherwise, I have this issue with coming up with labeling people as weak. And so
makes
if I
sense.
see you as weak, it's not going to work out.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me because it's like you're how do I put it? It makes sense because it's like I feel like a big part of it is trauma because it's like, oh, like you couldn't like you can't deal with that. Like, do you not even know what like real suffering is basically?
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And like that's what really pisses me off when somebody like says that they're hurt or or that I'm being dramatic and stuff like that is because I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about right now. You don't know what like actual problems are, which is hilarious. And I'm not saying that's healthy. It's just it's a very automatic response.
Yeah.
I'm convinced no one self-aware can be a mental health professional. No one, no one not self-aware. Okay, Cassandra.
Oh, okay.
She's talking about like, yeah, cluster B is not being self. I don't know. There, well, because like on one hand you have to have certain amounts of impairments in your life. I think it's possible like for him to be okay, but I think there'd be a lot of struggles with that. Bruh. The- Everyone's talking about Nicole being histrionic. Okay, guys, I know that she's not. I was just making a joke. Ruth says Nicole come work with me when you qualify. That would be hilarious. Nicole actually is getting an internship at my therapist's office, which is hilarious.
Oh, cool.
Okay, right. AV. I hope I'm pronouncing your a name right. Also, hi by the way. My own question: since you're going through a breakup, do you have that one ex that make all your new partners block? However, the other exes are fair game as possible means of contact. I have never had a partner that has made me block exes.
Like that has told you to block exes?
Yeah, like that's never been an expectation that somebody's had of me.
That's in my mind, that's just like something that's automatic
Interesting.
for to be loyal to someone.
Do you feel like so? You feel like that you have to be how do I put it? You feel like you to is it like a respect thing or is it that you feel like they won't be able to love you if their exes are still in their lives?
If they're exes?
Oh, so you only you do it automatically.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
expect them to?
Um so I'm a person who if it's out of sight, it's out of my mind.
Fair enough.
I don't want it to come up. I don't want to be triangulated. I don't want to know.
That's fair. That is
I don't,
fair.
I don't say like I don't want to ask questions. I don't want to I actually don't want to know. If I find out, it'll be bad. It'll be really bad. So
That's fair. Okay.
and I don't like being held to expectations that someone else like in my last relationship with my partner who came on my channel who identifies with BPD and NPD traits. In the first month, he did not want me to have any male friends, and he was still talking to his ex. So
That pissed me off.
that yeah, when I found out, it was months later. I was so pissed. But the thing is, I will or have let partners be controlling to some extent
Yeah.
because that means you care in my delusional mind.
It's like if you're not willing to control me, then it's like you don't care about me almost. Like I'm not. I don't matter enough to you for you to try to keep me in your life in a toxic way.
It's
Is that
sad.
correct?
Yeah, it's sad to think about.
That sounds.
It's hard to share. It's cringy.
I mean, because I get that when like if we hurt each other, right? Like let's say I hurt somebody, especially if it was on accident. I'm like, if you actually care about me, that wouldn't matter. It's like it's over now. You should be fine.
Yeah,
Um,
that would make me so angry. It's
yeah.
not over. It's not over.
Um. Oh, I had a really good question for you. Now I forget what it was. Why does this keep happening? Like something about. Oh, do you hate being compared to others? That. I thought that would be interesting.
Um, I don't know that I am compared to others. Huh.
Because for me, I'm always like, if somebody says, "Oh, you're smarter than this person," or something like that, I'm always like, "Yes, yes, I love the comparisons. I love the hierarchy." And even when somebody says that I would probably take a comparison of being below somebody better than if they just said I was bad at something. Honestly, it would probably impact me more, make me feel more shameful, but it would definitely be like I don't know. Comparisons just make sense to me.
Hmm. I think that if I was compared to someone, I would try to point out things I like about them.
Okay.
And maybe even play myself down. Like,
Ooh.
no, they're better than I don't know. It would be like out of a place of insecurity. I don't know. I don't think that would make me feel good. But I can't think of a time it's happened. So
Interesting. Okay. Huh. Let's see. Jacob, I know a therapist you could talk to about hypersexuality. Feel free to send me an email about them. Ruth, I love the fact that I get to interview experts. It's like, oh, I'm actually, this is actually a legitimate resource. Come on, where are we at? Where are we at? Every now and then, like my chat will just go all the way to the bottom, and I'm like, fuck me. Okay. Oh, Nameless. How do you feel about Dr. Ramey's portrayal of narcs? Ooh. I would like to hear your opinions on this too. Yeah, I'm not sure if she's spoken about borderlines at all, but I would love to hear both of them. This is, I have such mixed feelings on it because it's an important thing for a lot of people to hear when they're in the throes of a relationship like that. That's like actively abusive, especially. I think she's great when it comes to abuse. I don't think she's great when it comes to information on narcissists.
I think the problem with her channel is what narcissists do actually it's not just people with NPD do this. There's things that I relate to, but when she talks about people with BPD, she talks about us like, you know, we're in pain and the disorder's hard and we're suffering, but narcissists, a narcissist, they were. I personally, I wondered if she had was also a cluster B. That was my thoughts about her. I'm listening to her. Um, I don't know. I
I've
think
heard people talk about that, and I'm always like, I don't want to share my disorder with Dr. Romney. Fuck that.
I don't know. She has such a large platform. I mean, she picked a niche that
Yeah.
I think she could do more with her platform for people with NPD.
Like if I ever meet Dr. Romney, I don't know how I'm going to react to it. It's like, on one hand, I get it. She does help people, and I respect that. On the other hand, she probably has some of the most damaging content for people with NPD in recovery. Like, I remember, oh, Jack Doors, thank you so much. I'm going to have a cluster B coffee. That's funny. But yeah, thank you. But like, if she, what is it? But yeah, like, I mean, hell, I'm very active in NPD communities usually, and there's one guy that was like just diagnosed, and like he came into the sub being like, "I'm a monster. I hate myself. I watched a bunch of Dr. Romney videos, and like because of that, he was having those opinions about himself." I'm like, well, okay, it's good for you to acknowledge your toxic traits, and at the same time, you're like falling into this black and white thinking because of what one content creator had to say, who is not an expert in, like, she'll claim that she's an expert in narcissism, but like she has only published one paper on narcissism, which was like basically saying like people with personality disorders are hard to treat. Her focus has been mental health effects on AIDS, actually, like
Oh,
AIDS and their mental and like how it affects mental health. And I'm like, okay, don't. It's like there's this implication that she is like this all-knowing like resource on NPD. And I have the same issue with Vakman, right? It's like you don't have the qualifications, you haven't treated people. Can you not? Can you not claim that you do? Hence
yeah.
why in every one of my videos I'm always like, I'm not a clinician. But that being said, I have spoken at a conference about NPD, and I'm like, and it's like, I will, I, this is going to sound so grandiose. I have more qualifications than Vakman does at this point. But yeah, it just annoys me. Moments of photos. I saw that you had a question, but I lost it. You can feel free to send it again. Oh, Jonathan Small's here, by the way. What's going on, dude? Notes on. Oh, Nicole Miller, thank you. she gave a little shit out. Oh shit, I should probably. It faded away, but thank you, and I love my cluster Bs as well. All of us gotta stick together.
I read this question that said something about material possessions.
Mm. Do you know
Uh,
what, like, how much I value material possessions?
yeah.
I I find people who are indulgent in stuff like that, who I don't like. I find them kind of. I find people who are very flashy with it kind of indulgent, and I look down on that a lot. Like, I have a very stoic philosophy of I live off the bare minimum. That's all I need. I want my needs to be met, and other than that, I'm good.
That's the same with me.
Yeah.
I'm a minimalist. I have strong opinions about people buying materials to so people think they're living a lifestyle that they're actually not.
Doing it
It's
performatively.
yeah, like to fill a void. Um,
I don't like it. I think it's unhealthy and also wasteful. That's why I
yeah,
look down on it a lot. Mm.
my mother is actually a hoarder, so
Oh, that's probably part of it for you, right?
yeah.
Interestingly enough, my mom's partner was a hoarder. I wonder if that has something to do with that. Angie says, "I hate when people call people with NPD narcs. It seems so dehumanizing." I used to a lot. I don't know how you feel about that. Like, I prefer people with NPD, but like Tess uses narc a lot, and it's like I feel like it's like a reclaiming thing almost. Is there any shorthand for borderlines that like exist?
Well, some people don't like borderlines. So,
Gotcha.
some people with BPD don't like borderlines. Um, I personally don't care too much. I use it. I
I mean,
think,
I'll look at the title of my stream.
yes, ask a narcissist and borderline anything. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care too much about it.
I think the label is less important than people chalk it up to be, honestly. I'm not coming at the person who said that, by the way. Angie, I'm not. Just I think that yeah, I just don't think it's as important as a lot of people think it is. Um, it's just I just don't have a strong opinion on it.
Yeah.
Oh, Brosh, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name either. Broshan is here. What's going on? Again, I swear to God, I know like 90% of people. Um, Nicole Miller says that she relates to you being controlled as a BPD. Let's see. Camp Kids and Jacob, you're a legitimate resource. Thank you, KFK. Oh, that's funny. Nicole Miller hates being controlled, so that's interesting. I mean, not controlled, compared. Material possessions, grandiose compared to BPD.
So I said I like some. I said I like control. I want to clarify. Some control. Some. I'll take as engulfment, and then
Sure.
I want to leave.
What can you identify what kinds of control that you're talking about?
Um, when I felt like I couldn't be my own person.
Mm,
With the male friend example, I'm seeing that as jealousy, and that you care about me as a partner. So that means you're gonna stay around.
okay.
But
So it's okay. Sorry, go on.
when my partner took me, I want to take you shopping after a fight, and then he was picking out these neon colored clothes, and I don't like I like neutrals, and he was saying no to everything I picked out. Then I was just really sad, getting sad, like I wouldn't even have came here.
So
So
so it's mainly around like it's not about control. It's about making sure that you're still with them. If that makes
I,
sense.
I'm still my own person with
Yeah.
options. I don't want to be everything you want me to be.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's like, yeah. Okay, I see. So I'm trying to think of a way to like how to articulate it, like concisely for myself, because I understand it, but I'm like having a hard time putting into words. Like it's not control, not controlling you, controlling your ability to leave.
To leave.
Yeah, like is that like controlling your ability to leave them? Is that what you're more looking for?
Um, when I say control, I think I categorize it as you care and control, and then control, like you're shaping me into who you want me to be, if that
I
makes.
got you. I think the clothes example is what like made it click for me because I get what you mean. I'm sure. Yeah, there's some cluster B things that it's like there's no fucking way to put it into words. It's like if you know, you know. Like emptiness, for instance. There's no fucking way to tell somebody what that feels like. Or fear of abandonment. Even it's like we can kind of give examples that kind of articulate it, but it's like there's no fucking way I can make a normal person like understand normal in quotes. I never know what to call normal people, if I'm being honest. I always do that as short term. But I think was it Jonathan or Small? If you're here, dude, were you the one that inspired that in me? I don't remember. It may have been John Anderson. I forget which. But also by Nicole. But yeah, it's like, how do you describe emptiness? There's like no way. Like it's like you'll talk to somebody who's also cluster B, and like they'll understand what you mean by
Yeah.
just by using the word.
Yeah, I think Ricky just made a video on emptiness that I was watching. And I just feel like once another cluster B starts talking about it, you just remember, nothing that you do fixes this feeling like being dead but alive.
Yeah,
I don't know.
being dead is a good way to like describe it. Like I think it's so hard to use. I think being dead is probably the closest that I've heard. And but then like no normal person is going to be able to understand what that means. Is also the thing. It's like, what do you mean feel dead? It's like you just do. You just feel dead. Oh, it's funny. Oh,
Like
the Stampede says channel the guest, please. It's what? It's sweet sour sassy gone. Is that what it is?
it's sweet to sour now. I've
You shorten it.
changed the identity a few times. Sorry, train's passing.
The name has an identity disturbance. I love it. I like Frank Yeomans more. I actually reached out to Frank Yeomans and asked him if he would do an interview on my channel, and he replied saying, "I'm sorry, I'm too caught up in things right now. No matter how important your work is." And I thought he was mocking me. Two, I'm like, damn it, Yeomans. Like, Why aren't you coming? Why are you coming on my channel?
He said no matter how important your work is.
Yeah, something like he was saying that like your work is very important, but I'm too busy to do it. Basically.
Oh, okay.
And I was just kind of like, I admire you, guy. Why aren't you coming on my fucking channel?
So someone asked me, my channel is sweet to sour BPD. I have a Sour Patch Kid, a pink Sour Patch Kid.
Let me actually, I'll put it in the comments real quick. Or why didn't I just tag you? I'm dumb.
Don't call yourself dumb, okay?
I do it all the time. Here. I'm going to change the title of it. What's it now?
It is sweet, the number 2, sour,
There we
and
go.
then there's, yeah.
Okay, it should be in the title now, everybody. I think you might have to refresh the page, but I'm not sure. Anyways, cluster B sticking together. Have you ever heard cluster B and reflection? Talking about cluster B sticking together, do you ever hear some story about a cluster B and reflectively side with them, even though they seem objectively speaking wrong, basically? I do that as soon as somebody calls somebody a narcissist, I'm like immediately like, well, you might be wrong.
Did that person say side with them?
Yeah, like with the cluster B. Like have like a knee-jerk reaction.
The only thing that came up, I don't know if this is related, but if you or anyone in the community that we talked to had like issues with someone else, I automatically, no matter what you were doing, even if you were at fault, I would still side with you.
Oh,
That's
okay. In the community, it's different. If they're in the community, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, yeah, they might not be a narcissist. I don't care though. They're one of mine. But like if I'm reading something on Reddit and they're like, oh, this narcissist did this to me, I'm like, okay, probably not.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, actually, moments to photos of something really good. If I can find it again. I think all channels can provide insight for somebody, but a lot are just for audience, I think. But they can help somebody then. If they can help somebody, I'm not to judge. That sums up my opinion on Dr. Romney right there. Is that it's like there's value to be taken from it, just and if it helps people, and that's like whatever. I just don't think she's a good resource on NPD personally, but still. Narcs is fine, less in a mood. Yeah, fair enough. And I don't, but I do hate like this business model that's occurred due to like cluster Bs, right? It's like since it's so sensationalized, that people have this tendency to be able to exploit that for views or for news articles and stuff like that. And I feel like that happens with borderline too, just not as much.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a few victim channels, and there's one that I'm thinking of, and this content creator is just describing a toxic person.
Yes. That's why when like sometimes I get DMs and people ask me about their narcissist, and I don't mind that. I'll usually try to help them if they describe something that I'm like, yes, that's a narcissist. If they are only using Hoover, discard,
Oh yeah.
gaslight, if those are the only things that they say, then I don't reply because I'm like, okay, you're not dealing with a narcissist. Probably this is just a toxic person. So I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
It like hurts my head when people say, you know, my borderline isn't, she's not diagnosed, but she splits, and she has a favorite person. So she has a best friend and she gets mad at you sometimes. There's
Yeah, honestly, it's
what
like
symptoms is she experiencing? Oh, well, I read this book and it fits. Okay, that's it. I have to stop myself. Um
like honest like when somebody's like, oh my god, they discarded me and now they're hoovering, I'm like, so they broke up with you and now they're reaching out again. Okay, cool.
you
Then
know,
gaslighting gets a little tricky because it's like people associate gaslighting with lying. That's all people view it as at this point. um but while gaslighting is actually intentionally trying to make somebody feel insane for some goal, and I'm like, I don't know what they're actually doing. If they lied to you about where they were, that's not gaslighting. That's just lying. And gaslighting isn't even like, it's not like it's a symptom of NPD.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, it says narc is more convenient, but it does feel dehumanizing whether certain people say it. We're not a person, we're the narc for them. See, honestly, I think there's a huge difference between the narc and narc. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think the narc is making a person out to be like a monster or something. The narc.
It's way more dehumanizing in my mind. Yeah, I feel like both of them are, but still. I mean, that's the thing. And oh my god, that's such a big issue. Is that people view people with cluster B personality disorders through the lens of their disorder instead of like as an individual. It's like that's not Jacob, that's a narcissist,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a huge issue right there. And that's why it's so hard to give people advice sometimes. Because it's like I don't know them as a person. I know what their disorder is. I can kind of pick up on some things that they're thinking and why they do it, but it's like the 90% of it I can't tell you. They're having their own thought processes. If it's not related to the symptoms, then there's a lot that I can't tell you.
We don't all have the same computer chip in our brains. We might share symptoms.
Well, have you ever been friends with another borderline?
Um, mm, I thought my favorite person may have BPD. I'm not sure. She had some of the symptoms. One of my friend's mother, she is diagnosed with BPD.
Okay.
And when I heard the diagnosis, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing. Like when I met Tess for the first time and Cluster Milkshake, I was like, whoa, I have never related to somebody so much in my life. Which it was a really eye-opening experience for me because I understand the similarities a lot better. But like at the same time, you know, nobody would look at me and Tess and be like, "You guys are the same person." No one would look at me and Sarah and be like, "You're the same person." You know,
Exactly.
I relate to them a fucking lot, but we are very, very different people. I finally got to the part in the chat where Nicole left like a fucking hour ago.
Mm.
Shell name. Oh, I have a question about fantasies. I often fantasize about performing on stage and people in my past and audience. Almost a way of apologizing, being a middle finger vibe. Could that be indicative of MPD? I don't know if it's indicative of MPD, but I fucking relate. I fucking relate a lot. Like, I will have fantasies that like I am performing to spite people that were like doing karaoke at a bar or some shit, and like a song that's like adding them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or or just like performing in a way that's like performative, I guess. Like, I don't know. I also have fantasies of people that used to be in my life, like apologizing and shit like that, and like that they were wrong and that they still care about me and shit like that, which is weird. I don't like it. I don't know. Do you relate to any of that?
When thinking about performing, um, I thought about how I used to go to the club. I was a clubber,
Yeah.
and um, getting invited to stand on top of the speakers and dance. Like, I don't know. I felt like I was performing.
That is a big thing, right? I don't know if I do this nowadays, but like if somebody's around that I don't get along with, I'll act like very dramatic, very performative, just
Mm.
because I want them to have me in their head. Oh,
Oh,
also, okay. First of all, systemic. Hi, I was excited to see you, but don't do shit like that. Come on. That wasn't necessary. Anyways, but still, good to see you. Anyways, I think this person had a really good question. Are you going to have kids? Are you afraid that you can genetically pass them on their disorders? Yes. Oh my. Oh, also bye, Karen. Yes. Oh my God. Like I want kids, but I'm terrified of like passing on my bullshit either just through the environment. Like, am I going to be healthy enough to have kids? And also, they have a genetic predisposition. I'm like, I don't want to fucking give this to someone else.
I want children too, but there's that fear, and I don't mean to offend anyone. But for
I'm
me,
sorry. Give me 2 seconds. KFK. Also, you don't engage in stuff like that in the chat. Anyways, sorry. Go on, Sassy. I just wanted to address that.
I feel like I would be acting like unethically if I had children because I have bipolar disorder,
Yeah.
BPD, and then I don't know. I know if I seen myself as a bad parent or if my child was hurting, that could break me. I could spiral, and then I wouldn't be parenting. So, thinking about that stuff.
Yeah. You know, like that's something that I feel like would destroy me is if I saw like, oh my God, if I started to see myself and my negative traits in my kid, because like I always say, like kids are the only thing that like genuinely, um, like kids are the only thing that like genuinely like I have any sort of compassion for, and the idea of like them going through the same shit, and hell, like even like the people they might hurt and shit like that.
Yeah.
Fuck me, I cannot do that.
I'm worried about someone hurting my kid because then I would go to prison.
Yeah, true, fucking true. Like, I hear people be like, oh, like, like someone's kids being like sexually assaulted.
Hmm. Oh,
That guy.
yeah.
Let me put it
Yep.
this way: I saw this video once, and this guy was arrested for doing something like that, and like the dude and they're moving through the airport. The dude is pretending to be on the phone. He turns around and like with a gun and just right in the temple, dead instantly. And I was like, yeah, I would too. Like that guy was completely in the right. And I feel like a lot of people would relate to that, not just cluster Bs. But yeah, ugh. Oh man, now I'm thinking about that and I'm like,
With my anger, I don't know that I would have the control to stop myself. Um, if I seen this video of a gym teacher throw a hockey stick at a second grader, and it knocked his teeth out, and I would have, I know, showed up to her house because I can find your address, and
yeah.
I would have beat with the hockey stick and went to jail.
I mean, I get angry when I see people in grocery stores like yelling at their kid or something, or like treating them badly and shit, or just like having like a tone with them. Like,
Yeah,
I get like legitimately, I get like feel my fucking heart start racing, and I want to fucking
yeah,
like hurt them. Ugh,
brings up those childhood memories.
yeah, I hate that shit. And like for a long time, I didn't even realize this because of childhood and stuff like that. It was just like so automatic.
Hmm.
But whatever. Um, Oh, if Dr. Ruth is still here, she said that narcissistic loyalty right there. And I'm super curious because like this is something that I've always had. Is that like this fixation on loyalty? Like I've always been like loyalty is the most important trait somebody should have and stuff like that. It usually like it more became a problem in platonic relationships, but I did expect that in romance. Like, oh, this person was mean to me, I expect you to cut them off. That's loyalty.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm really curious if that's a narcissist thing or a cluster B thing or like anything related pathologically.
Um, Loyalty is important to me. It's important for me to show, I have to show people that I'm loyal to them. I have to show my partners, I have to show my friends, anyone who's supported me, I have to show. I'll beat myself up if I forget something. The guilt will come up. It is, I know that some people with BPD have acted on impulse and have cheated, but that would be, breaking loyalty for me, and
Yeah,
I think I would have to abandon my partner,
wrestling.
because they would abandon me in my head.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I see that's an interesting overlap. Is like I always, if I feel like I'm about to be abandoned, I will go off on a fucking like rampage and cut them out first. And it's so funny because I'm like, man, that's like such a that abandonment stuff is such an overlap to the point that that behavior I cannot distinguish between NPD and BPD. Nameless, have you ever tried psychedelics and experienced ego death? No. I know Tess has, but I haven't. Not during shrooms, at least. Um, I don't really connect with I don't have any need to connect with people or nothing. I mean, I related and talked to it, but not in my life or socialize. I'm capable of. I'm sure I have something. What is my diagnosis? That's not much to go off of. But I would put based off of that though, I'd say schizoid. If Mushka is still here, um, what are those notes in your calendar? I have no idea. That calendar is like over 2 years old. I have not seen your reality. Oh, people scare you though. That's a little different. You're not indifferent towards them; they scare you. Maybe it's might be avoidant then, because avoidant people are super afraid of being judged. That they'll avoid social connection and stuff like that. Um, as for like they desperately want to be liked, and I think that's the biggest connection between that and narcissism is that they're so fixated on like shame and being judged. Schizoids are completely indifferent towards people, and that's why they don't have the urge to connect. They just don't care. And they have emotions. They care about people, and they can have relationships. But the schizoids are very 90. If you're not in their very, very close inner circle, they don't give a shit. My best friend has schizoid traits.
Have you had them on your channel yet?
He hates being known as part of the schizoid thing.
Oh.
Like anybody perceiving me. It's interesting because he describes it as like they're almost not worthy to know him, because like schizoids have like this covert grandiosity, and like it's something I struggle to understand. Okay, like here's a good example. It's like for them, being known is like somebody coming into your room without knocking.
Oh.
It's fascinating. I don't understand. And I asked about that in the schizoid subreddit. It became like the most liked post of the month or something, which I found funny. Systemic mom is good. She's good. Yeah, systemic. Is it Karma right now? It's Karma or Noah? I can't tell which. I'm leaning towards Karma, but yeah, like, and like hearing the internal experience of people with other personality disorders is fucking fascinating because it's so different. Like because like normal people, like normal in quotes, it's really interesting hearing it because it's very different. But with other personality disorders, it's like, what the fuck is happening?
I wanna be able to visualize it.
Yeah.
Um, hmm, to understand. It's interesting.
Because that I think that's like the thing I struggled with the most when it came to understanding a schizoid is that like that fear. It's not even a fear. They just hate it. They hate being known. And I'm like, and at first I was like, oh, you're afraid of being judged. And they were like, no, I don't care what they think. And I was like, what are you afraid of? I don't understand. Because that's the only thing I can even conceptualize as why I wouldn't want somebody to know me. Do you relate to that? Like the only thing that you could understand is like not wanting to be judged.
I don't know.
Because like at least that fear makes sense to me, and hate. I'm trying to think.
Not wanting to be alone?
Not wanting to be known.
No. Do I relate with feeling that?
With the only reason that you would avoid it is fear of being judged.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm confused.
So my buddy who's schizoid, he doesn't want to be known because like he hates it. He just hates people knowing him. And I don't really understand it because he just hates it because I guess it's almost an invasion of privacy, maybe. I don't get it. For me, I would only avoid people, and like he's indifferent towards people though. He's not afraid of being known. He just hates it.
Just
And for me, oh, okay, here I'm MPD and schizoid. I experienced that version of being known by taking comfort in that. No, fuck. They said that they can't be known. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, for me, it's more of if I were to avoid somebody, it would only be for the purpose of the only purpose would be because I was afraid of them judging me.
for BPD, would it be afraid of being known because then I wouldn't exist?
Yeah, it might be enmeshment. That makes sense too. Enmeshment makes way more sense to me than the schizoid shit, honestly. Okay. Fucking let me actually look at shit. How can adults fear abandonment so much? I don't know. Fucking, I just do. I don't know. Can you like think of like the reason why? Well, I guess for me, it's like because they told me I was worthless by abandoning me. I guess.
Um, mm, mm. I mean, when for me, um, always wanting my parents as a young child, and that anxiety sticking throughout my relationships, wanting that closeness,
Yeah.
um, but not too close in adulthood, um, rejection and abandonment. That panic feeling from childhood is still coming up. It's I don't know where in the brain um,
Like,
that would
what's the what am? So when you are abandoned, quote unquote, what are you feeling?
panic, anxiety, hopeless, um, nothing. I'm nobody. I'm nothing.
Oh, so you feel like you're losing yourself.
Yeah, I'm losing myself,
Gotcha.
losing control.
That's interesting. Okay, I get that. That makes sense. It's like your identity is being stripped away from you.
Yeah.
I think I wonder if that's because identity disturbance is a thing with like all personality disorders, but I feel like with NPD there's way more of a fixation on identity. Does that make sense? Like we like borderlines don't know who they are. I feel fucking like I'm fake and everything I do is a lie and shit like that. And I don't like deep down I don't know who I am. Like I have my external qualities, but like who am I deep down? If that makes sense.
And what I say is, who am I? I'm you.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember this guy asked me what my hobbies were. And in my head I said, "Good question. What are your hobbies?" And then I told him what I thought. Um, yeah, it sounds kind of sad, but
It is a little bit, but have you ever had a therapist who didn't believe in PDs? I had the doctor at Inpatient. I don't think believed in them because he just wanted to slap a bipolar diagnosis on me. I fucking am so mad about that. I hate that guy. Um, or maybe you guys would be super awesome parents because you understand the emotional meltdowns that kids have and have compassion for them. Maybe. I honestly, I doubt it. Um, I don't trust myself enough. And also, pro male revolutionary direct action got very upset about that, and I don't think that reaction was warranted, if I'm being honest. But whatever. Um, narcs shouldn't reproduce, dude. Chill out. There are some narcs in remission that are fine. Um, yeah. Your next exception, I think this is when we talk about schizoids. I'm the opposite. I needed a lot of social interactions. I cannot stay home alone for more than 2 days. I start to have bad thoughts. I feel better when I meet people, even if they're strangers. Fucking same. I cannot deal with being alone. Jesus Christ. A good meme that I saw once is it was like I need to be the most fuckable person in the grocery store for some reason for NPDs. I mean HPDs. What do you feel about social interactions?
um I love interacting with people, but I just don't want to get too close. I don't
Yeah,
want to get touched. Um, yeah, because I think either you'll hurt me or I will hurt you. I will probably end up abandoning you because I will feel engulfed or rejected.
yeah.
Um, but I can be alone for days. I can be alone.
Really, I could not. Like I start freaking out whenever that happens. Um, like I just I don't know what it is. I can't do it. I just like I feel like I stop so you stop existing when somebody your partner abandons you. So I stop existing if people aren't telling me who it is, who I am, and stuff like that. That fucks me up. If I don't have social interaction for long enough and people aren't uh like enforcing my like shell, then I fall apart.
Have you brought that up with your therapist? Is there a way that um, clinicians go about treating that?
I have no idea if because I don't know if you relate to this, but basically every time I'm in a therapy session, my current interpersonal issues take such a priority that
Oh
it's
yeah,
hard to get into it's
yeah,
hard to get into that inner stuff right there.
yeah. Someone talked about how I've spent so much time in therapy, and that I didn't cover A B C D because I'm always experiencing a lot of chaos, or at the time I was trying to deal with those whatever was happening then, those issues.
Yeah, uh, it sucks.
What are you drinking?
Me?
Whiskey?
Hell yeah, per usual. I'm like almost stone cold sober though. I'm like I'm barely even feeling it. I'm like a little tipsy. What are you drinking?
It was coffee. I
Mm.
shouldn't be drinking coffee this late.
I was about to say, like, you're gonna be up all night. Um, what's your favorite band, Nameless? Well, my favorite artist is Will Wood. Will Wood and Tapeworms. Fucking, he actually has borderline personality disorder. Will Wood. You should listen to some of his stuff because it hits fucking hard.
I will. I'll look into them.
It's like, let me put it this way though. Given your emotional reactivity and how mine too, you might cry. Like um there's a fucking there's one song called Against the Kitchen Floor, which I sent to Early Morning Barking, and he was it's like literally one of the lines is how he's talks about how he's crying that like he caused so much harm and then hitting his head against the floor because apologizing for existing in the person's life, and it's like a lot.
See, I don't know. I would probably avoid. I'll try to listen to it, but yeah, I don't like sad music.
It's not even like the beat of it is like happy, but then
Yeah.
the lyrics are like intense. It's hard. What's the best way to break out without making somebody feel worthless?
Oh, I'm the worst. Um. Well, things aren't working out. You're a great person. Um, I think that we both, there's better for us. I have never broken up like that. I always leave out on a bang, and I actually am hoping that my partners are hurt. They're feeling my pain when I leave.
Oh yeah, hell yes. I want them to fucking. This is toxic as fuck. But yeah, like I don't like I when I very rarely break up with people because I try and make them break up with me. But if it's unprompted and they break up with me, I don't think there's a good way to put that because for me it's a hierarchical stuff. It's like if you break up with me, you're telling me that you're better that you at least think you're better than me. That I'm down here and you're up here, and I flip shit. I can't think of a way to like avoid that. If I'm being honest.
I kind of have this like fantasy of someone breaking up with me to see how I'll react.
Just curious, right?
Yeah.
um, Jack says my ability to isolate is part of my grandiosity. I can live in a cave if I had to. Jack, do you what is your because you're schizoid and NPD? Would you just love to live out in the middle of fucking nowhere, self-sustaining? I'm curious because that's what my schizoid friend says all the time. Is like his fantasy is to live in the fucking middle of nowhere with nobody, like just with like his girlfriend, nobody interacting with him.
See, I could do that with my partner.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I could not. Oh, I could not do that. I want to live in a city. I love how some when I was like, "Oh, who's your favorite band?" Jack Doors immediately was like, "Lilwood." Angie said, "I love your reactions to the abandonment question." I mean, like, it feels so innate. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, obviously, if you're abandoned, what do you mean?
Yeah. When you know, you know.
Yeah, honestly.
Or like maybe being compared to for some losing a close loved one, like their death.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But in this person's still alive.
That's interesting. Like, I see what you mean. That's interesting. Like, well, for me, it's like that person's dead to me, but like, no, but like, earnestly, it's that they don't exist anymore. Oh, I gotta think about that more because you're right. Shit, people fucking making me come to. Um, I fear dying too. Shit, what James
See,
say?
I don't fear dying.
Do you not? Well, like I don't fear death. I fear like not existing anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Do you not like fear it at all?
Mhm.
I'm jealous. Okay,
When
let's see.
when I talk about death, it scares people, so I try to avoid talking about it because it's like I don't know.
How to heal from being with a narcissist takes facing internal emotions head on. Yeah, I agree. Fucking, I should do that too. Those are Jay, you think it's okay for people to be better than me? I think intolerable. I was about to call you bro, but I'm not sure if you're a girl or a guy, so I'm not going to make that assumption. But like the idea of somebody being better than me is so awful. Like I don't even know. It's one of those things, right? It's like abandonment. I'm like, obviously that's terrible. Same thing with that. Do you have a do you have an issue with people feeling like they're better than you or being better than you?
No.
No
Um.
issue.
Um. Unless I'm angry, or I will say I've gotten into some arguments with people with BPD, and I felt like they thought they knew everything, and the thing
Yeah.
is, in the same time, I thought I knew everything, so I'm right, and they're not.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise, I don't really think about it. I don't like go outside and compare myself like with other women. I will see beautiful people and just acknowledge that they're beautiful. Unless you try to bring me down, then um I'm better than you. I'm
That's
better.
just
If you try to bring me down, then I am better than you.
see that's fascinating because for me it's so automatic. The process of just going outside and comparing myself to everybody, it's like either I'm admiring them for being like attracted when I'm outside, usually it's like attractiveness that comes to mind because like obviously I can't, talk to them and get to know who they are or how smart they are. But when like if I'm just outside walking around in a park or something, I'm immediately like, oh my god, that person's uglier than me, whatever. That person is really attractive. I admire them. Like it's so automatic to compare myself. Like I
Mm.
don't even think about it, which is fascinating. Also, Jacob, how much empathy do you think you have? Emotional empathy, like barely any, except for kids. Cognitive empathy, I don't know. I think we all lack cognitive empathy when it comes to personality disorders. You know what I mean? Because like we assume people are thinking and acting for the same reasons we are.
Will you try to think about how you would react in a situation? Um, and then
Ooh.
there's times, I'm like, I wouldn't react that way. So I just don't understand why you're
Yeah. And why are
I,
you so upset?
I feel you're upset. That's what I told my partner. I feel you're upset and I'm sorry for how whatever I said. But I don't understand.
It's like I don't under. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why I think we lack cognitive empathy is because like I can see obviously the person's upset, and I can acknowledge that, but I'm also like, why are you overreacting? Why is this making you upset? What is the issue right now? Like it confuses me, like earnestly. Um, I mean, it's I don't know. Like conceptually, a lot of times I get it, but it's like a lot of times I usually apologize because I feel like I have to. Is what I'll say. I have compassion. I'd say. I think I have compassion.
Do you use sleeping 24 hours to stop your supply from disturbing you while you cheat to both of you? I don't like supply. That's to me it's disgusting.
Yeah, I hate that term.
Can you even define what supply you're talking about regarding us? Now, if you're talking about someone that helps regulate my emotions for me, um, and cheating, me personally, if I were to cheat on my perfect partner, okay, that's the thing, they're perfect. So I'm not cheating on my perfect partner. But if I were to cheat, they're going to leave me. And so that's my state on cheating.
I'm yeah. I'm. Let me find that comment because I'm kind of confused about what that means. I'm just going. I might just go to the end right now because I'm like, fuck it. Do you use sleeping 24 hours to stop your supply from disturbing you while you cheat to both of you? Oh, so like telling them that I was sleeping for 24 hours so I could go cheat? Not really. Oh, Nicole Miller. BPD doesn't need supply, just get obsessed with one. Very true. And thank you very much. But yeah, I've never, I bear like I don't know. I've cheated a few times, but like I've never. It's not been that complex to me. I guess I didn't come with elaborate schemes to cheat,
Yeah.
and like I don't know if I when I did. The only times I cheated were like super impulsive or emotional. The emotional one, I was pretty shitty in it. I was like literally just like, oh yeah, they're like obsessed with me, but I'm, like I'm like whatever. With the physical one, again, it was impulsive. I was just kind of like, oh, I'm drunk and there's a girl hitting on me, whatever. Um, and neither of those things are okay, obviously, but it wasn't. None of that was really planned out. There was no calculations involved.
I've heard that some people with BPD, they will create that you are leaving them or you are cheating on them, and they'll actually cheat on you. But that's interesting. Um, in my mind, my partner is my soulmate. Until they disappoint me or reject me.
Hmm.
Um, but then I want them to fix the whole relationship and fix my feelings.
Do you think that you would cheat when you split on them? Like if they weren't around?
No.
That makes
No.
sense. That's the thing is that like I can see like for like I can see like either of us or people like us cheating for various reasons, but it's
Yeah.
like person by person basis. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay, so I do think that if maybe if I was less aware,
Uh,
I don't know. Um I just to me, I I know for some people cheating is the ultimate betrayal. And
yeah,
so if I betray you, you will for sure leave me. Um Um, and I'm also I when I find in my mind my soulmate, I have a disgust for other men. So
interesting. Like you can't even be attracted to men, I imagine.
yeah, yep. I don't want other men to look at me, talk to me.
I can't even. That's funny because like my like being in a relationship to me is so it's almost non-consequential. Um, it doesn't even come to relate to my like I'm still attracted to women. I don't know. It just doesn't even occur to me that I'm in a relationship and my attraction to other women and stuff like that. Huh. I gotta think about that because that's interesting. Also, somebody said my ex used to use the phrase "dead to me" and betrayed me just like you do. Yeah, fucking. That's a narcissist thing right there. Not gonna lie. But I rushed through that real quick because I really have to pee. I'll be right back. Ugh.
I'm gonna I'm sorry. have seen that some of you guys have been talking, and it's like hard. I have my laptop right here. So I'm sure I missed some of the things. How I Survived My Borderline Girlfriend. Excellent read. Maybe I'll, look into it. Maybe I'll write a book. Mm, mm, mm. Now that I'm paying attention to the chat, do you guys have any questions you would like answered that I could try to answer? Girls with BPD are like my weakness. Do you use sleeping 24 hours? I would never say anything like that. Do you sometimes feel ashamed that you're an empty shell with no personality? Um, well, I think I do have a personality, but and that's from spending time alone and traveling. I've done a lot of traveling in the last 3 years, solo traveling. So I think that's when I learned about myself. Um, but I feel terrible that it seems nothing can feel the inside of me when I'm not in a romantic relationship. Do either of your parents have BPD? That's a great question. I wondered if my mom had BPD or NPD. I think she has more NPD. She's diagnosed bipolar. I have bipolar also. I have And NPD husband, we are divorcing and no one compares, nor do I feel the same energy. Any advice? Well, my ex on my channel, NPD, I just feel like there's this closeness that you can have with someone with NPD if you have BPD that relates to like no other relationship. Um, it's like you can let your take your mask off, um, and show them parts of you that are hidden from the world. I really don't have any really good relationship advice. I've failed relationships.
Yeah, same. I'm fucking shit at relationships. I have a question actually, which I think is like I usually say that people with NPD mask everything about themselves, and people with BPD mask their symptoms. What would you say about that?
Yeah. Yep. I would say I mask my symptoms. And I I don't believe I've been pretty social throughout my life, and I've never had any like real issues with people pointing out my behaviors and like some of my symptoms. My friend she brought up like I've never seen you angry until this situation all these years. um I think I can mask symptoms well unless we're close.
Yeah,
If we're in a relationship, you will see my symptoms if we're in a relationship. And
yeah.
my mask is like a protective mask. Um,
Jack
I
also put a good way for NPD. There is no me, only a mask. That I felt fucking that. But yeah.
oh no, sorry guys. There's a lot of things happening over here.
Honestly, on that note, though, we have been live for over 2 hours. I do think it's time for us to wrap it up
Yeah.
because I'm getting tired.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you all of you guys that are watching. Thank you for contributing to this conversation.
No,
I
honestly, and thank you for coming on. I had a good time. This was fun.
This was fun. Thank you. It was easier than I pictured it would be. I thought I would be totally awkward, and I thought I was gonna like just shut down completely the whole time. So
You were great, honestly.
thank you.
But yeah, hopefully you'll come on again sometime. But yeah, until then, I hope you have a good one.
Have a good day. Have a good
You
day.
too. If I can figure out how to end. There we go.